So the ACH network has charted new records last year. The number of payments sent across the network rose 5% over 2024 to total 32.5 million. The total value of those payments was $93 trillion, which is an increase of roughly 8% over 2024.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty significant. I mean, I remember the days when it barely hit a billion.
Yeah.
I used to say, can't touch credit cards. Now now they're kind of vying.
It's actually
Uh,
super interesting that it's growing. I actually did not know that.
I was surprised. I mean, it's single digit growth, but still it's growing,
Still, I mean, it's
you
not
know,
shrinking, So
right?
I
Which
really
is interesting.
that's super interesting actually. Yeah.
December was the best month of the year. The network carried um, the largest number of payments in its 50 plus year history,
Hmm.
3.22 billion. And it was also the biggest month for same day ACH, 172.1 million.
Hmm.
The total of same day ACH payments for the year was 1.4 billion. So same day ACH is really driving the growth. If you look at it, there's just like about a third of the growth is same day ACH.
Yeah.
Um, B2B payments were also a significant driver. They grew 9.9% in 2025
Hmm.
and totaled just under 8.1 billion.
Wow.
So
Hmm.
that was pretty significant.
I should say.
Um, Payments related to internet commerce, which are largely the consumer to business type payments, they grew 6% to total 11.4 million. So not a whole lot, but still, you know, it shows that there's some people still out there using it.
Yeah. Hmm.
And it was interesting because they said in a press release, nobody should be writing checks in 2026, and it's like, guys, plenty of people are. I mean, I
Right.
think I think I mentioned here, if I didn't last week, it was recently that a survey by the Association for Financial Professionals, which are all the cash manager type people, found like 70% of companies still intend to don't have any plans to stop
Right.
writing
Stop.
checks
Yeah.
anytime soon.
Yeah,
So,
it is interesting though. I mean, I feel like that growth in ACH. I mean, I feel like Meta trends is like, B2B, which you mentioned, of course, that was
right.
inevitable. I think there's a
Yeah,
lot of
sure.
innovation with ACH. We've had Will Messina on here from GrillPay a few times. So there's a lot of innovative things going on right now with ACH and trying to make it better, more API driven. I think also when you look at, one of the interesting things, Patty, here is if you look at kind of legacy payments, you look at the Global, the Heartland, the TSYS,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those
Right.
companies really have not made ACH a major part of their platform.
No, they haven't.
But you look at the new entrants, all the fintechs, right? Whether that be Stripe, Adyen,
Right.
et cetera, they've all made ACH really native to their kind of single API usage and things like in their gateway and all that. So
Right.
I do think that's driving it, and it is interesting. Even like full stack payments, we did our deal with GrillPay behind the scenes, and they're making that through the gateway that we have. But yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where when ACH is available, it is used for a lot of different use cases, such as it never expires, so there's no like expiration date on a card you have to worry about.
Right.
There's a lot of
Sure.
benefits to it for sure.
There are a lot of benefits. I mean, there's a reason why like gyms and other membership type organizations have been using
Hmm.
the ACH for years.
Yep.
Because they can keep on charging, that they don't have to worry about cards on file.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and the other thing is that when you're doing a dual pricing scenario,
Hmm.
ACH can is an easy stand-in for cash.
Absolutely allows you to do dual pricing in a compliant way in an online card not present environment. So yeah,
Right. Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
Hmm.
So next up, payment system outages are putting at risk $44.4 billion in yearly U.S. retail and hospitality sales. This, according to a new study from Freedom Pay and the AI powered analytics platform Dynatrace.
Hmm.
U.S. businesses report an average of five major outages a year, with 63% occurring during peak operating hours.
Wow.
And the place where the most outages occur, 40% of at risk revenue at least, is in 5 states: California, Florida, New York, Texas, and Washington.
Hmm.
All those I would have seen except for Washington, but I
Washington.
guess, yeah,
Yeah, I wonder what that's about. But anyway, yeah, I mean, the other ones are almost more just a law of averages of the most people are in those states, so that's where most of the outages are going to be. But yeah, Washington, I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Washington.
So,
I'm thinking like the tech companies,
oh, maybe, yeah, maybe. Hmm.
you know. Retail accounts for 37.7 billion, or about 85% of the at-risk revenue. And not surprisingly, the more tills, devices, and counters a business has, the greater the exposure when systems fail. Um, this data was based on surveys of consumers and store and hospitality venue managers, and what they found was that most consumers will tolerate brief outages, and this surprised me, up to 7 minutes. I don't think I would tolerate up to 7 minutes.
Well, it depends on your business type too. I was talking to Ben Shirey with Stackably about this the other day because we were talking about how like, we're building out Restaurant Stack, and we haven't rolled
Hmm.
that out. It'll be a long time before we do. But one of the reasons that it's so scary to roll that out is because when you're dealing with a hair salon, if they have a 7 minute outage, they're probably fine. If you're dealing with
Right.
a restaurant and they have a 7 minute outage, they probably want to sue you. So each business
Yeah,
type
I
is a
mean
little different.
they turn over tables pretty fast. They don't
Right.
want to have a big outage there, you know.
Hmm.
And of course, obviously, after 7 minutes, everything goes downhill, and
Yep.
that's bad news because most payment system disruptions in the U.S. last longer than 7 minutes. Um, and also, they found that businesses underestimate the ability and willingness of customers to use cash as a stand-in when electronic payment systems fail.
Right.
They found that fewer than 30% of the consumers they surveyed carry cash when visiting stores or restaurants.
Right.
And many of those who don't, about 28% of those who don't, are not inclined to find a nearby ATM, uh, during a system outage,
I wouldn't
go
think.
get that cash and then bring it back and pay for the
Right.
transaction. I mean,
Right. They just lose the revenue.
yeah, yeah. Of course, my solution for that would be you should have an ATM in the restaurant, or
Right. Right.
I've talked to people like in that run like that sell into liquor stores. Big deal to have cash machines
Right.
in liquor stores,
Yeah.
um,
I
for a
think,
lot of reasons.
I
Not
think
the
Patty,
least of it.
I think the real long-term solution to this is going to be payment orchestration, where I think I really believe that in 24 to 36 months, I think one of the competitive advantages a lot of the software companies are going to have is
Hmm.
that they're going to have multiple platforms. So it'll be
Yeah, I
like
think you're right.
I was working on a deal like that the other day, and it's like, yeah, if you this one merchant is really large, and part of it's that they're higher risk, but also part of it is the
Hmm.
outage situation. But they can route payments over like 5 different gateways,
Hmm.
and so for them, it's like, well, if they have an outage on one, it'll just route it to another one, and so
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Why, yeah, that, to me, I think you're right. I think that's the next step.
yeah,
So the next thing I wanted to talk about, James, is crypto. And I know we've talked about cryptocurrency research in the past. I know I've done it in the last couple of weeks.
hmm,
But there's a new report out by PayPal and the nonprofit National Cryptocurrency Association that reveals 4 out of 10 merchants now accept crypto at their points of sale,
wow,
better than 4 out of 5 believe crypto payments will become commonplace in the next 5 years.
wow, that's crazy.
Now, this research was conducted by the Harris Poll, which is a pretty reputable research
Hmm.
organization.
Yeah.
And they also found that consumer interest is driving the trend. Better than two-thirds of the merchants surveyed said they receive inquiries from consumers who want to pay with crypto at least once a month.
Mm.
Now, most of the merchant adoption is being seen at large enterprises, those with more than 500 million in annual sales. Um, 50% of those businesses now accept crypto payments.
Mm.
But smaller businesses aren't being left behind. 32% of mid-sized companies and 34% of small firms also now accept crypto payments.
Mm.
Not surprisingly, younger consumers are more interested in paying with crypto. Millennials account for about 77% of crypto paying customers. Gen Z and younger consumers account for 73%. My generation, the baby boomers, are just 4% of us are paying with crypto.
Yeah.
The merchant categories where crypto acceptance is higher include hospitality, hospitality and travel, where it's about 81%, digital goods, gaming, luxury, and specialty retail,
Right.
76%. That's about three quarters of those businesses. And retail and e-commerce, which I wasn't totally surprised with the e-commerce, but the
No,
retail
not
was a
really.
little surprising,
Yeah. It's growing. Again, I think there's so much there that goes into kind of the vertical side of it, right? Of like,
right?
what type of retail exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
So
are you a liquor store or are you a you know, shoe store?
right, exactly.
I mean,
You're gonna see differences there. Yeah. So
I think like a furniture store, for example, might be one where, I think you would find you might be more inclined to find crypto at stores that have higher average tickets. That
right.
would be my supposition.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have another. This is an interesting one. I love it when I can do the crime beat, and this is my crime beat story.
Yeah.
The U.S. Secret Service, working with other federal agencies as well as state and local law enforcement, says it managed to prevent an estimated potential losses of more than $428.1 million in EBT card skimming last year.
Wow. Hmm.
They visited 9,000 businesses in 17 states and inspected nearly 60,000 point of sale terminals, gas pumps, and ATMs, removing 411 skimming devices
Hmm.
for the year.
Yeah.
Now, they law enforcement agencies say there's a nationwide surge in card skimming, particularly targeting EBT cards, because those cards are still being handed out as mag stripe cards. They
Right.
don't contain chips. And what criminals are doing, as we know, they're installing these card skimming devices at ATMs and POS devices to capture EBT or other mag stripe card information, then encoding it on counterfeit cards and making fraudulent purchases. Some crooks also target gas pumps apparently that are not. I didn't realize that there apparently are still gas pumps that lack chip reading
Right.
capabilities.
Yeah, and which is crazy because you're going to pay so much additional processing costs now
Yeah,
on that
right. I
with
mean,
the
that's
yeah.
especially given their slim margins.
Right. Right.
So, Secret Service is estimating that skimming costs financial institutions and consumers about $1 billion a year.
Hmm.
I have to say that doing it for the EBT cards, I mean, that's like how low can you get? I
Right,
mean,
exactly.
these are people. A
Taking
lot of
food
these
from
people
babies.
are like really rely on that money,
Right.
and they
Yeah.
go to the store and find out, oh, there's nothing left on their card. That
Yeah.
just that just kind of irks me a little bit.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
do have one last story I wanted to run by you, James, and this was interesting to me, and maybe you don't think it's as interesting as I did, but leading acquirer Elevon has teamed with Microsoft to roll out a new payment app for Microsoft 365. It's
Wow.
called Elevon Live Payments. It's available through the Microsoft Marketplace.
Yeah.
They describe it as groundbreaking. It's said to make it easier for businesses and professional service providers to securely send invoices and collect payments with just a few clicks of the mouse. Um, it's said to be the first major embedded payment expansion to leverage the omni-channel capabilities of the Elevon Payments Gateway.
Hmm.
And it works directly. This is what I thought was interesting. It works directly within the Outlook email interface, and also integrates with Microsoft Teams for in the moment collaborative billing and payment. Thought that was pretty interesting. That's not
Well,
something I've seen come across. Have you? Is it something you're
well,
more familiar with?
yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it just goes to show that when you're trying to build third-party payments into software, no matter what
Mm-hmm.
software it is, you're headed for trouble. I mean, again, I know lots of people who make their money in this industry by having a payment integration with Microsoft 365 and some of these other
Uh huh.
platforms, and now they are rolling out their own with Elevon. So I mean, so it's
Yeah.
always it's a consolidation of payments. The integrated payments experience continues to be like that. So
Yeah. So, well, that's it for this week, James.
good stuff, Patty. Thank you so much as always. Appreciate the insights.
Sure thing.